Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Monkey in the Morning. I am your host, the Ranting Monkey, and I hope you're having a good Thursday. That's what it was. Hump Day was yesterday, so that makes today Thursday. And Thursdays are a good day. I always like Thursdays. It's not quite Friday, but it's coming. That was your work day or your work week. Thursday meant you were on the downhill slide, man. It was coming time where you didn't have to do that shit for a couple of days. Whew. Been an interesting day. I woke up to Officer Karen McMuffin, and that's a weird thing to wake up to. Some woman claiming to be a police officer freaking out because she didn't get her McMuffin quick enough. Yeah, it's whew. Her claim is that, police officers just can't trust their food. And you know what? I don't like anybody who fucks with food. We've talked about that, I think, at length before. It's actually one of the things that really, really irritates me. But the number of times that it's actually been proven to be true is not that much. Not that much. You're much more likely to have police officers told they can't come in a restaurant than somebody to fuck with their food. And so for her to be freaking out because, oh my God, it took 5. Have you never been to a McDonald's before? Sometimes you just get there at a bad time and shit just takes a while. For me, the most unbelievable part of her story is that she tells us that she'd ordered a coffee and a McMuffin, and they had her pull ahead and they brought out her coffee. Now, I've never been to, I don't want to say never. Way back when I started working there. I worked at a McDonald's when I was 18, you guys. Actually, I started there when I was 17. So what? Fuck. Oh, God, a lifetime ago. Dear Christ. Anyway, long enough ago, the rules were you hand them their drink before you park them. And the reason you do that, there's actually a reason behind it. It's not just so, okay, we don't have this drink sitting here. It's because they're less likely to get upset if they already have something. So if you can give them that drink, it tends to keep them a little bit happier. You don't hand them the food because you want the food to stay warm. You keep that inside, even if you have part of the order ready. But yeah, you give them the drink to. So when she's like, yeah, they brought out my coffee. I'm like, did they? But she when they brought out her coffee, she just told him, keep it. I don't even want it now because I can't trust it. Oh, God. Use a lion, bitch. Use a lion, bitch. And you're trying to cause more pain and disruption in the world. You're trying to cause more strife on a day when they announced the charges against the 2 police officers involved in the shooting down there in Atlanta of Rashard Brooke. Is that his name? Brooks. I can't remember. I finally remembered Rayshard, and I can't remember his last name now. Jesus fuck, monkey. But the one police officer was charged with felony murder, and the other one was charged with assault. Did they charge him for the assault? Because they said he stood on his shoulder. Said he stood on Rayshard's shoulder, and the other guy, the guy who shot, he's actually been charged with 11 different things, 11 different items or crimes. Just call her Officer Karen. I'm fine with calling her Karen, but calling her officer or anything. And she's not a true Karen because she didn't go talk to the manager. A true Karen would have went and talked to the manager about it taking 4 minutes. So I feel like that's not the right wording. I have trouble with that. But even more importantly, it's come out that she's not an officer. She's just a whiny bitch who's like a security guard or something. I don't know. I don't know what the hell she is, but she's a crazy bitch. I'm just going to call her that. The officers, yeah, they came out that the charges were being pressed against them, and they've been arrested, and they have what's the best use of a Karen to get something free? Be like, bitch, go give me something free. Go whine. Because they'll give Karens free shit so they'll go away. That woman freaked out because she thought they were messing with her food. Yeah, for no reason. She had no reason to think that. She freaked out at a McDonald's. Okay, we'll go back. We'll stay on this story for just a minute. She freaked out because it took a little while at a drive-through. That happens a lot. I don't get mad at drive-throughs. I mean, if it's taken 20 minutes, then like, yeah, excuse me, where's my fucking food? But knowing the times of the cooking from when I worked there, and it's adjusted a little bit since, if somebody can make me enough hamburgers to feed my family, fries and drinks and all of that in even 10 minutes, that's a lot fucking faster than I can do it. It's fast food, not instant food. You don't want instant food. That's people. I get that she's upset about that. They might be messing with my food. Why? You're not even a cop, for fuck's sake. She wasn't even a cop. Agreed, just saying that's what's in her mind. I'd say paranoid. I say faking. I'm sorry. I don't believe her. I do not believe her story. I think she made it up for attention. Frank, thank you so much. Around here, it's happened a lot more due to COVID. Are you talking about slowing down? Yeah, I mean, if that's what you're talking about, yeah, I mean, you have far fewer people working. So I think it's so funny that 4 minutes, calm down, bitch. If that is real, that bitch needs therapy. And I'm sorry for calling her a bitch, but that bitch needs some therapy because there's something wrong with her. Okay, so we have the charges that come up in the Richard case. And because of that, it's been reported by actual news sources, as well as people who live there, that the Atlanta police have stopped responding to emergency calls. Oops. The Atlanta police see this and they're like, you guys aren't going to support us. You're not supporting us. And so, yeah, they started ignoring. Now, I'm sure all of their radios are just broken. I'm sure they're all just broken. It's not their fault. They're trying to do their job. I can't blame them. I've had several arguments over the Rashard Brooks case, and it is very easy to Monday morning quarterback that situation. Very easy to do so. It's also not fair. If you watch that video and watch how long it takes place, from the time he starts running, actually from the fight itself starts, it's not long until they shoot his ass. I think it's very unfair to judge those police officers like, well, he wasn't really a threat. He pointed a weapon at an officer. I'm sorry. Shouldn't have done that. If he would have just said, all right, I guess I'm going to jail. He was obviously drunk. He'd obviously been driving. He was getting a DUI as he should. And people, they should have let him go. All right. And he gets back in that car. And then what? The amount of time they had to sit there and think, we've all got a chance to sit back and watch it. They weren't watching it. They were living it. And it's disingenuous to sit there and go, no, I know exactly what I would have done in that case. I would have calmly thought and been like, oh, he's just firing a taser. That's not a life-threatening thing. I will just let him go and we will nab him later. It's not fair to those officers. And when this goes to court, I don't know what'll happen. I really don't. But yeah, so the police are like, yeah, we're not responding to shit. And then there's folks who are like, defund the police. And the police are like, fuck it, we're not doing it. We're not going out and policing. And they're like, what? How dare you not go out and police? We want to take away your money, but we still want you to do that job because it's unsafe out here. Well, pick one. Frank says, you don't understand because you're white. I think, you know, Nancy Pelosi tweeted out today that Donald Trump and Mitch McConnell aren't doing enough to bring police in line. And my immediate thought was, bitch, you've been in Congress for a long time. You ain't fixed this. You ain't fixed this back when Obama was president and you were the Speaker of the House and you guys had full control over the fucking Congress. You didn't fix it. But now they're all out there supporting violent mobs and talking cold shit against the police constantly. Look how bad these police are. You know what? The vast majority, and I do mean the overwhelming majority of instances of people interacting with police are fine. The police are even respectful. They're not dicks. But because there's a couple of cases where it's like, oh, look what happened here. Look what happened here. George Floyd's brother was up in front of the UN asking them to look into the racism of the police here in the US and the killings. About 200 black people are killed by the police each year. That is a tenth of the number of black people killed by other blacks each year. The police in the US kill about 1,000 people a year. And that's a lot. It's really not when you consider how many interactions there are with the police. And in the vast majority of those cases, even those, the vast majority, it's justified. It's justified. Motherfucker pull a gun on a cop and they put him down. Hey, old guy gamer. Monkey, is there validity to the story that cop said we got him and put his foot on the shit dude's shoulder and not checking on his health? I don't know. I heard that from the district attorney, and I don't remember if it was we got him or I got him. I have no problem with the I got him. I really don't. But apparently, according to them, they didn't check on him or get him first aid or anything like that fast enough. Now, I can see charges for that. But the shooting itself, no, that was justified to me. And I got him, telling your partner, I got him. Yeah, that's kind of, that's just communicating. Or even we got him. There's nothing wrong with that. That's communicating what happened. Like, all right, situation's done. If they're trying to portray that, especially him saying that we got him as some kind of, yay, we finally took down a Negro, that's disingenuous as fuck. At least in my estimation. I do love the people who are upset that the police aren't doing their job after there are actually people out there with defund the police in their profile on Twitter, mad that the police aren't doing their job. You're out there. We don't want these people. All right, there you go. We're not going to police. Everybody wins. That's the whole movement. Abolish the police. There's an actual movement to abolish the police. Now they'll tell you, we don't actually believe in abolishing the police. Like, well, that's the fucking term you use. If you don't believe in abolishing the police, maybe throwing this out there, you should stop saying it. We read a story on Lords of the Night. What will happen if we abolish the police to rape victims? Well, we don't really mean abolish the police, but even if we did, it's not like the police help rape victims. Oh, yeah, they actually do. It says, cool. Oh, I'm just into the dentist. Please give me some good shit to listen to when I'm on my way home. High on good dentist drugs. You be careful on your way home. Hopefully somebody's driving you. You don't want to end up asleep in a parking lot or in a drive-through. I'm torn about the police not answering their calls. It's not fair to the people who are calling. It's not fair to the overall community, but the overall community is not coming out to support them. What we're seeing against police, look, what happened to George Floyd is horrible. And those 4 cops, those ones, deserve to go to prison. That does not mean every cop is bad. All cops are bad. No, they're not. You fucking lying dicks. You're making... the worst part of it is if this was next year, this wouldn't be happening. If this was next year, this wouldn't be happening. You have politicians and news folks who are playing this shit up because they want to blame it on Donald Trump. I've seen it fucking blamed on Donald Trump. Nancy Pelosi just did it. Frank, thank you. Black on black murder takes 5,000 to 8,000 lives a year. Cops less than 200. 1% of that 1K a year is considered unjustified. So 2 to 4 blacks a year. Yeah. And the numbers for whites are about the same. It's a little bit more percentage wise. What is it? I think is it last year, the year before, something like that, where it was what was it? 6 unarmed blacks and 10 unarmed whites were killed that year. I know that's a thing going around out there. It's not a matter of whether or not they're killing black or white. It's whether or not they're justified in killing whoever it is. But there's no validity to the fact that they're targeting black people to kill them. Is there validity to them targeting black people to pull them over and stuff? In some places, yes. There is racial profiling in some places, and I do not agree with it. I think that shit needs to end. But even with that, even with racial profiling, whites are still, they have way more interactions with police. Well, it's as a percentage of their population. Yeah, get rid of profiling. I'm for that. If you want to profile based on characteristics. Like when I was a kid, we used to go into convenience stores in long trench coats in the middle of summer. They profiled the shit out of us. I didn't steal. Now, my friend who didn't wear a trench coat, that motherfucker, he stole everything. This motherfucker, one time, those balls at Spencer's that you put your hands on and the electricity comes to it? That motherfucker stole one of those out of a Spencer's in the mall, walked right out the front fucking door. And it might have been because the people at Spencer's were watching us, because trench coats were just a fucking fad at the time. Profile the people who are likely doing the crime. Don't do it by race, because that's not fair. Now, but blacks commit more crime. As a percentage of their population, sure. I don't think we should be separating whites and blacks by crime, by interactions with police. None of that shit. I don't think any of that shit should matter. If they're profile the criminals. But Monkey, how do you know what a criminal looks like? Their head shape. Just kidding. It's hoodies now. It can be, yeah. You can stuff a lot of shit into a hoodie. Not that I've stole. I've just, had kids and got to put a lot of shit in there when you're wandering about. Watch police body cam videos and you'll begin to understand. Wake up, people. Wake up to what? I'm curious what I missed there. Last year was about 10 black people and 19 white people. However, there's also unknown races that was about 50. I feel like we could be able to tell races. How is that so hard? Did they set them on fire? Frank, thank you again. Cops are more likely to be in high violent crime areas. Live in that area, you're more likely to be stopped. Those areas happen to be mostly them. We have a crime problem. And blacks do. They tend to live in the inner city. They tend to live majority in inner cities. And yeah, there's a lot of plight, and a lot of people feel like they can't get out, and there's a lot of crime. Wonder how those neighborhoods in Atlanta are doing tonight. Yeah, according to the report that I read, it was only 3 zones. I don't know how many zones there are in Atlanta, but 3 zones were like, yeah, we're not answering calls. And it's not fair. It's not fair to the rest of the people in Atlanta. But if I was a cop, I don't know. I kind of feel like I would I'd be with them. I feel like I'd be with them. Be like, you know what? I'm just gonna eat donuts and go sit on the highway tonight. And if I see somebody doing 90, I mean, I might flash my light real quick, but I ain't going. 6 zones in Atlanta, from what I've read. Oh, has it gone up? Yeah, the CNN article earlier said 3. So it's fair they voted for these jackasses. There's a part of reap what you sow in here, definitely. I mean, the same people right now who are telling you how horrible it all is are the Democrats who are always out there preaching how they're going to fix everything, preaching how fucking racist the Republicans are. Republicans aren't the one in charge of these. They're not the ones who set up these police forces. Those are the Democrat mayors. The Democrat fucking governors are the ones that oversee the shit. Frank, thank you. I tend to assume white for unknown. They typically go out of their way to mention black. I don't know why they would say unknown. I would imagine it would be white just because it's easier to go. I don't know if that's white or Jew or white, or what is it, Hispanic white? Because Hispanic white is different than white. I don't understand that. I really don't. It's mostly Seattle PD not doing calls, pretty much all hood and shithole areas. I'm sorry, Southeast Atlanta. I thought that was Seattle. My bad. I thought you had a problem with your computer. Let me restart that. It's mostly Southeast Atlanta PD not doing calls, pretty much all hood and shithole areas. I'm OTP northeast of Atlanta, and we're fine up here and mostly support them striking. Again, I get I get why people would support it. I don't think it's fair to people who are out there having trouble and be like, you know what, fuck all y'all. But were you out there? What is it? Silence is consent. Isn't that their phrasing? If you're okay with the way these cops are being treated, I guess silence is consent, right? You're not standing up and going, look, not all. ABAC. I mean, this is something they actually post and write on their little signs. ABAC or ACAB. Sorry, ACAB. All cops are bad. How many clowns are in the clown car? I think they're all out of the clown car running things. Nulls matter. Outside the perimeter, I don't know which perimeter we're talking about. Attorney Paul L. Howard Jr., the DA, didn't wait for GBI investigation before he called for the cops' heads. Yeah. GBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, hadn't finished their investigation, and the DA's like, I'm charging, which is in his purview to do, as long as the case has been in any way sent to him. Or, I mean, in this case, it's very public, so. And yes, I know all cops are bastards. Yeah. And then you wonder why they're like, yeah, I'm not doing anything. It's like those cops who all dropped off that forward force. And where was that? Where that old man got pushed down? Because the union came out and said, if you guys get in any trouble, we're not supporting you. And like, all right, fuck it, then I'm not doing anything. If this wasn't an election year, and specifically, it might have happened anytime during Trump's tenure, but next year, it won't matter. If this exact same shit happened next year, even if Trump is reelected, it's not going to matter. It won't matter. This is an election year hype cycle. That's all it is. It's claimed that the man has a cracked skull now. That was claimed at the time, Talik. By day 2, the blood that came out of his ear, they're like, yeah, he cracked his skull. So last I heard, though, he was recovering okay. He was talking and fine. I mean, he had a cracked skull. That's not fine, but skulls heal. As long as he doesn't have like his brain swelling, he'll be all right. The wailing and gnashing of teeth. I don't know what we're talking about there. But anyway, those cops debunked the union assertion they dropped out in solidarity with those who pushed the old man. Well, yeah, because the original story was they dropped out because of the 2 cops being charged rather than the police union saying that they wouldn't support him. And that's what really made him go, fuck it, I'm not doing it. Tim Pool did a video on that. I don't watch Tim Pool, but Matt Christensen did a video on it, and I remember watching that. Frank, thank you again. Did you see the FedEx driver video? Believe it. I did not see it. I saw mummering. Is that a word? Mummering. That's not the word I'm looking for. What is it? It's not mumbling. Murmuring. I don't know. I saw people. I saw like little headlines. I didn't actually read any of it. So, what doesn't Tim Pool do a video on these days? Look, man, he's fine. Muttering, yeah, mutterings. That's what it is, Amanda. Thank you. Mammary. No, that wasn't the word I was looking for. No, I don't have a problem with Tim. Tim, make all the videos you want to do, man. And right now, man, we have plenty of topics. Lots of topics going around. Hazman, thank you. Is it horrible me thinking that the Mexicans are having it worse dealing with the CJNG and other cartel gangs? How so? And you don't have to super chat it. I mean, I don't understand. Are you thinking like down in Mexico itself and that they're having a worse time than, say, blacks in America? Because if that's what you're saying, no, it's not horrible. It's true. It's absolutely true. They were killing fucking butterfly experts. Remember that? There's two of the top butterfly experts in Mexico were killed, and they're pretty sure the cartels did it. If you're talking about something else, let me know in the chat, and I'll do my best to keep an eye on it to see if you meant something else. But yeah, it's I'm not saying we can't have better police. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have. Sorry, I'm trying not to be racist. I appreciate you trying not to be racist. Don't be racist. But if you have something you want to talk about, by all means, say it how you mean it, bud. I'm all for body cameras. I think that is a real good start. I think police are going to be more on their best behavior if they have a body camera on at all times. Do you remember that guy that they found planting the drugs? And he's like, no, that's where they actually were. I had to put them back there. Like, bitch, we caught you on camera planting drugs. Stop it. We cannot take your word for it. But he thought he could get away with it because of when the camera turns on and off. No, they just need to be, you're on duty, camera on. And I don't know how long, I mean, you're eventually going to fill up way too much space in a server system. So maybe you only keep it for 6 months. And then if there's been no complaint, you can go ahead and get rid of it or something like that, you know? But I think having cameras is a good thing. Citizens also need to always film the fucking police. I'm with you, Amanda. If you have any interaction with the police, film it. Turn on your fucking phone. Then why cancel live PD? It's a pretty good way to keep them accountable. Despot, because these people are fucking morons. That's why. They keep doing this. They keep they're getting rid of black characters on things because of racism. Like, what? You're less of a black presence. They canceled Aunt Jemima. And in all seriousness, we talked about this on Lords of the Night. I never knew that was a racist thing growing up. I thought the woman made the company. I thought it was made by a woman named Jemima who Aunt Jemima, and that's how she sold it. It doesn't mean what it used to mean. But they're like, oh, you know what? We gotta hide this Negro. Gotta get her out of the public eye. You fucking morons. Uncle Ben. Have they hit Mrs. Butterworth, NFL? I'm surprised if they haven't, because old black lady. Is she black? She looks black, but that could just be the syrup inside of her. She could be an old white lady. She could be Mexican for all I know. But these things, they weren't racist when I was growing up. They were just that it was there. Oh, no. Those are racist from way back when. Does anybody know that? Well, no, but we're telling them now so we can get rid of it. Oh, that makes a lot of fucking sense. Hazmat, thank you. Here, have another, and sorry for switching subject. No, it's fine. Especially on days like this where I'm going to be alone. Jack's not here tonight. By all means, toss out whatever you want to talk about. I only have two things that I'd planned on talking about, and then of course I'll go through my Twitter. But yeah, there's lots of room to talk. I don't know how long we'll go tonight. Probably only do an hour and a half with me knowing it's just me. Plus, I really want to get my game stream done and get some sleep tonight because monkey's tired, y'all. I didn't sleep worth a shit last night. I woke up, God, over and over and over again. I have this electrical shock going through my fucking left shoulder. It still hasn't let up, but kept waking me up. What? I don't know what that means. I think she was black facing it on accident after. I'm not sure what that means. I'm going to skip that one right now. I just think that they're doing is absolutely asinine. There's so many things that have changed that don't have the meaning they once did, but now they're like, we have to get rid of. There's some fucking professor out there, some jackass professor who looks up all of this shit and knows everything's historical meaning. And this is their time to shine. This is their time to shine, man. They're bringing down everything. The fucking Cavaliers, the UVA Cavaliers, they have crossing sabers on their mast. And the old handle of the sabers had a jagged handle where it looks like your fingers would go. But apparently, that's named for a wall that was used to hide slaves. So that had to go. Nobody knows this, but they got rid of it, and then now it has sabers with just smooth handles. That's a real thing that happened. That's fucking stupid. It's fucking stupid. You guys are just digging for shit to be offended at. You know, we've talked about that for God since I've been on YouTube, is that these people go looking for things to be offended at. And it's just getting worse. It's just getting worse. They're literally to the point that they looked at the handles of sabers on the mast. Is it called a mast? I forget the logo for the University of Virginia. And these sabers have the wrong handle. That's the racist handle. Nobody knew this. Nobody knew this. Some fucking jackass professor with his little tweed patches on his jacket is like, excuse me, those handles have the same name as that racist wall. We must get rid of it. Fucking morons. Frank, thank you. They're trying very hard to do things that don't matter, but nobody's doing anything that actually would matter. Yeah. They talk a good game about doing things that would matter. Getting rid of Aunt Jemima, getting rid of Mrs. Butterworth and Uncle Ben. These change nothing. It's not like it's not like Richard Spencer's out there going, you know, the only kind of pancakes I eat is Aunt Jemima because, well, I approve of that racist stereotype on the box. It's not like it's the official pancakes of the Klan. For fuck's sake. Anyhow. I just don't understand. This is meaningless garbage. I would be willing to bet everything I have that the vast majority of people who've ever seen the Virginia Cavaliers logo there had no fucking idea what those handles were named after, or that they shared a name. I don't know if it's actually named after, if it just shares a name with that wall. Even the ones who go to UVA, I'd be surprised. I know people have gone to UVA. I'll have to reach out and ask them. Like, did you know those handles were racist? I have several friends. I used to live in Virginia. Lots of people I know went to UVA. I have to reach out and, excuse me, did you know those handles were racist? Why'd you go to school with racist handles? Are you ashamed? Are you willing to turn in your diploma you got from that racist handled school? So fucking retarded, man. Meanwhile, George Floyd is no deader than he used to be. Officer Chauvin isn't any more arrested than he used to be. I mean, this does nothing. It does nothing. Look at the fucking Gone with the Wind thing. HBO took it down because of these sensitive times and because they hadn't put a disclaimer in the beginning. But when it comes back, there'll be a little video beforehand telling you how racist the movie is. You took down a movie that is historical, not in its depiction of what happened, and you can call it historical for that, but because the first African-American woman to ever win an Oscar won it for that fucking movie, you fucking retards. A couple of years ago, you were all repeating hashtag Oscars so white, and this year, you're removing the movie that the first black woman won an Oscar for. You're fucking retarded. They don't care about any of it, you guys. They don't. It's just to be outraged. Find something to be outraged at. That's all it's about. Toxic Nightshade, thank you so very much. Who says, sorry to interrupt, and then a smile and a heart. Thank you so much. You are very, very kind to me. These people, hashtag Oscars so white. Meanwhile, hide that woman who won an Oscar as the first black female to do so. There's no common sense here. None. The reason this didn't blow up like this under Obama is because they let it fester a little bit so they could get some political traction out of it, but then they beat it back down. Hide this shit. We don't want to see this shit. It's nonsense. Even they know it's nonsense. This year, though, they're just going to keep pumping it up. Gotta beat Trump, man. Gotta beat Trump. To the point you have a woman who was part of the Obama administration, who had every chance to do whatever it is she thinks needs done, and never did. Never did. But now she's out there preaching as though out there she's the savior of the blacks, you guys. She's gonna save the blacks again. And then you got some fucking moron over in the UK complaining because there's a monkey on a cereal box and calling it racist because apparently every time liberals see a monkey, they think black. But it's the Republicans who are racist, you guys. I'm not saying there's not racist Republicans. I'm saying Democrats are fucking racist. Liberals are fucking racist. The vast majority of them. They have a very low opinion of blacks and just refuse to say so. They do not think blacks can do things for themselves. They see monkeys and like, that means black man. They're the same old Democrats they've always been. Brian, America created slavery, not inherited it. Who was it that used that line? Who was it that said that? Because we are going to talk about the ACLU, because the ACLU, oh, these fucking morons. I want to get their tweet up on the screen so I can read it proper. Their tweet says, reminder, the death penalty evolved from lynching. It has no place in a justice system worthy of that name. Tim Kaine, thank you, Brian. That's who it was. Tim Kaine on the Senate floor said that America created slavery, not inherited it. America was founded in 1776, you guys. That's when we that's when we formed as a nation. Do you know when the first slave was brought over? The first slaves were captured from was it a Spanish ship? I forget what ship they captured them from, but they were captured, and in 1619 they were brought over. And from there, just more and more were brought over and over and over. But America, which wasn't created for more than another 150 years, did not inherit it from the British, is what Tim Kaine told us. Did not inherit it from the British. No, 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 no. We created it. Just like we apparently created the death penalty based on fucking lynching. There was a man, what was his name? What's his name? Oh yeah, Jesus. Y'all remember Jesus, right? You've heard of him before? They nailed his ass to a cross and stuck him up in front of all of his followers and watched him die slowly. Y'all remember him, right? Nah, we created the death penalty here in the US because of lynchings. You stupid motherfuckers. You stupid motherfuckers. This is the ACLU. These are fucking lawyers. These are people who've been to college for way too long. They have no reason to be up there saying something that goddamn retarded. They tweeted that out. God, man, if you go back to the Old Testament, man, they talk about stoning people to death. The death penalty predates lynching by quite a bit. I mean, whoever made this tweet should be fired. That's how bad that tweet is. Thank you, Frank. Anthony Johnson, black man, after his indentured servant contract was over, got servants of his own, and in 1650 had the first legal slave. I don't know if that's true. I'll take your word for it, but the first slaves brought to the U.S. were brought here in 1619. That's what historians agree on as the point where they came over, the African slaves. Guillotine, headsman axe, crucifixion, stoning people, forcing them or pushing them over cliffs. Now, Sean, those things did not exist. Remember, guys, the world started in 2016. Yeah, Cirque said, holy shit, I just realized America is the ancient Middle East. I know, right? These people, I mean, to be able to go out there and say that, this is the ACLU sucking up. They're like, look how virtuous we are. The death penalty. Now, the death penalty does, it's used against blacks more than whites. That is absolutely true. It's also used against men more than women, but you never hear them bitch about that. You never hear the people who are against the death penalty when they're bringing this up. They always make it about race, right? It's disproportionately black, which it is. Whether it's deservedly so or not, that's for... I'd have to go through all the cases, and I just haven't done so. But you can look at the numbers and go, yes, disproportionately black. It is vastly disproportionately male. They never go, it's disproportionately male, you guys. We've got to stop it. I wonder why that is. You guys have any idea? I wonder why that is. Everything's about race these days. But, if you want to look at a disparity, the disparity between male and female is disgusting. It's disgusting. Women hardly ever get put to death. It's almost all men. That seems like that would be, and men are a minority, you guys. We are. Women are the majority. This is majority oppression of the minority. But you never hear that. This is the ACLU trying to make it even more about that. They're even more virtuous. It's not just that more blacks are killed by the death penalty. No, it's that it actually came from lynching. That's where the death penalty started. I feel like you could learn more accurate history from a Denny's placemat. I'm being serious. I I feel like a Denny's placemat would be more accurate than what this fucking tweet is. They tweeted that shit out proudly. Socrates was put to death. There's no way they don't know that. A lawyer should be that stupid. I think you meant shouldn't be. Maybe you did mean should, because it would make sense with a lot of lawyers. Yeah, no lawyer should have been this dumb. This was pandering, and it's disgusting. It is grotesque pandering. Frank, thank you. For British colonies, we only had indentured servants prior, though some were punished with life contracts. Again, I'm going by the histories I've read. I see that you have a link there. What is this link to? A black Angloan known for achieving freedom and wealth in the early 17th century. He was one of the first African-American property owners and had his right to legally own a slave recognized by the Virginia courts. He was held as an indentured servant in 1621 and earned his freedom after several years and was granted land. He later became a successful tobacco. I don't see where it says he's the first one to own a slave. I like I said, I'd have to read this later. It's not something I can go into in depth on the show right now, because I'm talking and it's hard to talk. And the Babylon Bee actually responded to me. That makes me happy. Oh no, that's the Babylon Bee pitch bot. I don't know what the pitch bot is. Fair enough. You tricked me, bastard. Did you guys see that? The guy upset about the Babylon Bee. He called it a hoax satire site. He's actually, from what I can read on his Twitter timeline, he's not a liberal or anything. He seems rather conservative. He said, "I've warned people before. Frank, thank you. Read the Castor case part. Again, I'll have to do it offline, dude. It's not something I'm going to do in the middle of the show. But I appreciate the link. I'll check it out. I've warned people before. Don't retweet the Babylon Bee. It's a hoax satire site. A hoax satire site. So it's fake satire? That would make it real. Do people not care what words mean anymore? Okay, there's hoax sites. They're hoax sites that actually make news that they want people to think is real and push it out there. And then there's satire sites where it's obviously not fucking real and all they're doing is trying to have a laugh. Mad Magazine was not a hoax magazine. It was a satirical magazine. Whatever you think of it, Saturday Night Live is not a hoax show. It's a satire show. This hoax satire. This motherfucker called it a hoax. Even if that did mean what he thinks it means, it's not a hoax. These fucking people, if somebody reads a Babylon Bee headline, like the one today that Cracker Jacks, in order to be more politically correct, is changing their name to Caucasian Jacks. If you believe that, chances are you believe it because of the weird shit going on in the world today. You know, like canceling Uncle fucking Ben's. It's satire. What happened? If you've been fooled by it before, what I would say if I were you, and I'm just throwing this out there, I would tell my followers, look, guys, this is a satire site. Just be aware of that when people share it. There you go. The end. Like Tatiana McGrath or whatever, Titiana McGrath, whatever her fucking name was. She was satire. There was nothing real about that. I believe she's still around. I just haven't seen her. She lost her popularity after everybody found out it was run by a dude. I think they were all like, I need to see Titiana's tits. It's satire. There's a difference between satire and hoax. There's a difference between that. Like when CNN would put out there, Donald Trump put out a doctored photo. Remember those? doctored photo. I mean, technically it's doctored, but usually when we talk about doctored, it's done in a hoax form. It's a satire changing of what it was. It's a joke. But we can't have jokes anymore, guys. We got to get rid of the jokes. Imagine what this world would be like if people could laugh again. Imagine APD abandoned 6th precinct and remove weapons from armory. Really? That's the Atlanta PD, right? Are there protests? Is Atlanta on fire right now? I haven't been keeping up with what's going on down there. I just imagined it'd be on fire with everybody knowing that nobody's going to be responding to police calls. Josie says yes. Wow. Damn. Well, every time we do this, every time we do this, you're letting them win. You're letting them win. And then you're going to be like, we just saw in Seattle, there was a story we read on Lords of the Night. Part of the reason they went in and were helping the, what do we call these idiots? I don't want to say Chaz or Chode or any of that. What would you call the residents there? The fucknuts? They went in there and they helped the fucknuts and they cleaned up some stuff and they gave them more places to spray paint. And it was done in exchange for moving the barriers back to open up some of the streets. And that lasted for less than a day. The fucknuts moved those barriers right back again. Of course they did. What are you going to do? Nothing. You're going to go in there and help them a second time. Special ed kids, that's not too far-fetched either. So yeah, I mean, you keep giving up these police departments. What is this? The third or fourth one we've seen abandoned by police? You had the 3rd precinct down there in where's Floyd killed? Missouri. Not Missouri, Minneapolis. So you had them abandon the 4th precinct or 3rd precinct. You had the East Precinct in Seattle that they abandoned. They were talking about abandoning the West Precinct. I don't know whatever came of that. And now you have the Atlanta PD abandoning one. For fuck's sake, man. At some point, you have to stop this stuff. You have to. You can't let it keep going on. You can't let this keep going on. Monkey, are you talking about shooting people? Maybe. If that's what it takes. If the tear gas and the just the police presence isn't enough to break up these fuckers to the point where they're actually able to overrun a police department, maybe. Because your other option is to just go, all right, we really don't need police. And then you can't bitch about Atlanta, right? That's millions of dollars, just that one building. Indeed. Just given over to jackasses. Oh, man. So is Atlanta burning down right now? Is there, I got very involved in, cops just want their McMuffins. Stop it, Pete. I got very involved in watching all the footage that was coming out of the various riots and having a little bit of withdrawal. So if there's footage of Atlanta on fire, I'd be watching. Josie says, not yet. Well, Atlanta's on Eastern time, right? Figure if it's not happening yet, it should be all right for the night. Geez, now it'll be rioting whenever one black person dies now. It will be throughout the election. Throughout the election, especially if there's police involvement or it's white on black crime. Look for it, man. Because they finally got a foothold they can hit Trump with. Because even though, I mean, he's done a lot for the black community, one of the things he's been pushing, I saw Kaylee McEnany, however you say her damn name, talking with Jim Acosta. And Jim was asking her, Kaylee, is Donald Trump going to take responsibility if anybody gets sick going to his rally And she's like, no, we're taking as many precautions as we can because we're going to be giving out masks. People will have, temperature checks. And it's like, but this is going to be a large amount of people all gathered together. She's like, yeah. She goes, you guys in the press, you need to get your shit together and decide whether large crowds are a good thing or a bad thing, because you cheer this and don't cheer that. And he goes, well, that one is for Black lives. That's for protesting. And she goes, Donald Trump has done a lot for blacks. This is a true story. Donald Trump, for historically black colleges who had to keep coming back to the White House year after year to beg for funding, he's like, I'm just going to fund you, whether you like that or not. That's what he did. He's like, why do you guys have to keep coming back? And like, well, that's what we have to do. He's like, no, we're just going to give you continued funding. He's the one that listened to Miss Kim Kardashian and freed people that Obama was like, I ain't freeing those Negroes. Let that old lady stay in jail forever and rot. He historic unemployment for blacks. There's never been anything that they can say he did against black people, except for maybe way back in the 70s when he was first becoming in real estate. There were some problems with unfair renting practices. Since then, they got nothing on him. That's why they always go back to that. But he said good people on both sides, monkey. Go fuck yourself. If you're not going to listen to everything he said, don't repeat part of what he said. You disingenuous fucknuts. That old lady was the largest coke runner in America, but okay. I don't believe that drug offenses should be life sentences. I'm sorry. I just don't. How many of her junkies went to jail? They're the ones who made that choice. I'll tell you what, she can go to life in prison as long as everybody who took her drugs does too. The First Step Act that has helped a big chunk of black people. Yeah, the First Step Act. He's done a lot to help them, but we're not allowed to talk about that. We're not allowed to talk. We have to. Didn't black people stand up for Trump when he was sued? Which time? I think any dealers of anything stronger than weed should be given 20 years mandatory. I don't. I'm not. I don't think drugs are. These are a choice people make. But they get hooked, monkey. They still made a choice that first time, didn't they? Is anybody hooked the first time? Because if so, I'm on a couple of drugs right now I didn't know about. The people she sold the drugs to did get a life sentence of addiction and death. Well, while she was standing there with that gun to their head, forcing them to buy drugs from her, yeah, that does make her a horrible person. They sell to kids. Does that gray area still apply? Yeah. I mean, I don't agree with drugs to kids. And if she was specifically selling drugs to kids, how long should you die in prison for a drug offense? And how many drug offenses does it take to get life in prison? Is it just the first time? Because that seems harsh to me. Did you see Trump sign an executive order yesterday for police reform and training? I did. And they were like, that's not enough. Frank, thank you. The orthodoxy or the orthodontist with the drug trade is the gang violence around it. Is orthodontist the right word there? Bike hands and mafia included. She was only the treasurer. She didn't handle the drugs. I don't think you should go to jail for life for selling drugs. For strong drugs, I'd say yes. I'm not talking weed or Adderall. I'm talking meth or coke. Well, what's the difference? Why is meth? There are people who ruin their lives on weed. It's not the same as meth. Their teeth don't fall out. And they're people who make great careers of themselves off coke. They're perfectly functioning adults. The war on drugs is a massive waste, in my opinion. I agree. I 100% agree. I don't want drugs out there, just especially the harder drugs. I don't want them out there just willy-nilly. Like I think I talked about this yesterday, day before. I think we should have sponsored drug houses where people go, they get high, they stay there until they're not high anymore, and then they can go back out. Because meth you can never recover from. There are studies that show if somebody younger than 18 does marijuana, it affects them for life. So if they sell marijuana to a 15-year-old, can they go to jail as long as somebody who sold meth? The idea is when they tag on the intent to distribute because it affects others. Yeah. I suppose I just have different ideas on it. Have a bright room to sober up. Yeah, I mean, look, if you want to go out there and fucking bake your brain, as long as you're not hurting other people when you're doing it, I'm okay with it. But it is funny to me that a lot of the problems with the drug trade, talking about the violence, that comes from drugs being illegal. We saw that same thing during Prohibition with alcohol. You don't see that these days. You don't see people shooting each other over stills. You just go down to the corner market and buy some. When you make stuff illegal, you create a black market for it. And that's where that shit comes from. Anyway, let's piss more people off. Let's talk about the other thing in the title there, because I said this today and it upset a lot of people. A lot of people are still upset and telling me how dumb I am on Twitter. And it's okay. You guys can disagree with me. This guy said, can we normalize bi people being in a steady and healthy hetero homosexual relationship and still be bi? We didn't choose a side. We aren't secretly gay. We don't want to smash anybody coming along our way. We just want to be loved. If you're not allowed to call yourself bi, does that mean you're not allowed to be loved? That seems a stretch to me. That seems like some please pity me. I'm bisexual and feel bad about myself. Bullshit. Do the bisexual thing. I want to see you piss these people off. Well, here we go. My direct response, I'm just going to read it. So this may get me in trouble, but when you're in a monogamous relationship, you aren't bi. You might be bi attracted, but you're either having gay or straight sex, not both. That's just true. It's just true. You can be attracted to people all you want, but if you're only having gay sex, then I would say that's gay. If you're only having heterosex, I would say that's hetero. That just seems right to me. You can be as bi attracted as you want. I was just told right before the show that no, bi just means that you can get wet or hard from the opposite, from both sexes. There are straight women out there who have no interest in ever licking a pussy at all, who get wet from watching lesbian porn. There's actually studies that have been done on this. Women have no interest at all, but because she got wet, according to that guy, they're bisexual. That's not how it works. The sex is gay, the person is still bisexual. I disagree with that. I think when you're talking about sexuality, it's what your intent is. And if you're in a monogamous relationship, your intent is to stay with the dick or vagina you're with. It's not to go out there and find others, is it? Just because you get turned on by something, is that your sexuality? Be very careful answering that question. Is what turns you on a sexuality? Be very careful answering that question. Corey, thank you. Can you have gay and straight sex at the same time? Yeah, it's called a threesome. I've seen it. It's actually a pretty popular genre of porn. And it can go both ways. Male, male, female, 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 male. Yeah. At least a threesome. I've seen a woman on her back with another woman on her face and a dude between her legs. That is having gay and straight sex at the same time. Yeah, if you're not, you know what? Nothing for you here says, if you're not fucking a hermaphrodite, you're not bisexual. Monkey, probably. Actually, that's very close to something I said earlier today. Unless you're in an intersex relationship, if you are monogamous, you are either having gay or straight sex. Those are your only two options. You're not having bisexual sex. What about those poly relationships, aka swingers? Do they count as true bi? They don't count as monogamous. See, and I'm glad you brought that up because I thought of this analogy earlier too. I am not against polyamorous relationships. I do not think monogamy is natural to humans. I am monogamous though. But because I think monogamy is unnatural, does that make me polyamorous? Even though I'm not in any kind of polyamorous relationship? I'm going to say no. Because words have meaning. You're wrong, but you're entitled to your wrong opinion. I still love you. I'm not wrong. I happen to be right, and people are very, very upset about it. I defy anybody to show me how you can be bisexual in a monogamous relationship. It's not possible. And again, if you're just going by, well, I'm attracted to that, be very careful because there's some people who use sexual attraction means that's my sexuality that I don't think you want to get in bed with. If I eat salad for dinner, I'm now a vegan. Well, that's the other one I used. If you're on the all meat diet, you can't claim you're a vegan just because you used to eat salad or you're not opposed to salad. I would eat a salad, but this is my diet. Well, then you're not a vegan. I'm just throwing that out there. I think monogamy is natural to humans. Everything else I've agreed with, but we can agree to disagree on that. That's fine, Amanda. I'm just pointing that out as an example. I do not believe monogamy is natural. I think there's too many instances to prove otherwise. A lot of people are like, well, you wouldn't go fuck around if you were happy in your relationship, or maybe they were horny. Blood leaves our brain to make our dick hard, and it actually affects our judgment. And it's not, I'm so upset with my relationship. It's, I want to put my dick in that. It's not natural for us to just want to be with one person. B Junkie says monogamy is natural for women. I suppose so. I can see the argument for that, but what about that feminine penis, though? Stop it, Byron. Very, very wrong. You're conflating desire with current partner. No, I'm conflating sex with sexuality because that's what goes together. Somewhere along the line, we changed sexuality from actually meaning the kind of sex you're having to what you're attracted to. We changed it literally to attraction. And again, be very careful doing that. But yeah, so there's my thoughts on that. There's not much deeper to it. There's not much deeper to even say because, I mean, a lot of people are like, you're wrong, monkey. I'm like, I know. Go get your flag. That's not nice. Make sure you have your flag displayed, you guys. I'm not saying you can't like both sexes. I'm saying if you're not having sex with both sexes, you're not bisexual. Okay. Is deeper the right word in this circumstance? It depends on what you're talking about. Yeah, I'm not a man, so I can't speak for how y'all's brains work. But I know if my husband left me tomorrow, I ain't looking for another man. I had my kids. I had my husband. If this ended, I'd buy a good. Oh, I have a feeling I know where that's going. You know what? That's fine too, Amanda. That's fine. Oh man. The other thing that came up from this argument was the suggestion that I can't admit I'm wrong. Which, by the way, horrible timing. Horrible timing. I just did it last night. Very publicly. I say so many things out loud and so publicly. I often have to admit I'm wrong. Well, I would at least say often for me because I'm not wrong very often. But it's an interesting concept that comes up from time to time when I'm arguing with people. You don't think you're wrong. Like, of course I don't think I'm wrong. The fuck would I make an argument where I thought I was wrong? Who does that? Do you guys often go out there and argue when you think you're wrong? Do you guys go out there and argue when the position you're arguing for is not something you believe in? Because that seems like a waste of effort to me. Of course I think I'm right. And if you show me I'm wrong, I'm happy to admit I'm wrong. Because as I told you guys, what was this? Maybe a week ago now. I don't want to be stupid. But you're going to have to show me something more than your opinion and some really, really bad comparisons to make me rethink my position. Then read a dictionary. Okay, you want to do it that way? Do you really want to go by read the dictionary? You know what the dictionary says racism is now? Yeah. Okay, so racism is only basically white people. There you go. Only white people can be racist, guys. Only white people can be racist. Be very careful with what you say. I'm not as dumb as you guys apparently think I am. You know, I just mentioned a little bit ago that it's from the changing of words. Attraction now means sexuality. That's not what sexuality is. Oh God. What else we got going on today? That's the Babylon Bee. How long have we been going? All right, we got about 15 minutes left in the hour. We'll just go an hour and a half tonight. That's a Teen Vogue thing. That's from yesterday. That was Teen Vogue in 2018, basically pushing marks on kids. Who's shocked with that? Yeah. There's Nancy Pelosi's dumb shit. Yeah, I think that's everything that I actually had to talk about. We'll take a quick look. We might actually end right here. Let's see if there's anything else going on. I see Star Trek is out there promoting Black Lives Matter. Good for them. They're giving money to Black Lives Matter causes. I'm very curious about what that means. Black Lives Matter causes. It's that's a weird phrase. Virgil says, I'd say use some logic, but I did use logic. You guys just don't like it because you heard that's what the word means. If you have if you are never going to have sex with another person, if that's your intent, then aren't you whatever you are at that time? Apparently not. No, and you're still whatever. Remember, guys, we're not allowed to question what people say they are. And it's funny watching you guys make that argument. I'm going to remember that anytime we bring up any trans lunacy. Because remember what dictionaries say now. Atlanta PD, that's a big thing. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. don't care. Christmas is trending. Why in the good goddamn is Christmas trending? I wasn't really that interested before, but after this endorsement, my Christmas in July gift orders. Oh, is this all about what the hell? Yeah, Christmas is, there's a whole lot of weird people talking about Christmas right now, and none of it seems to be related. Okay. Twitter's weird sometimes, you guys. And Danny Masterson from that 70s show has been charged with raping 3 women. There were 2 other complaints. One was thrown out because of statute of limitations. The other one was disregarded for lack of evidence. But yeah, he's facing 3 rape charges from back in, what was it, 2001 to 2003? It'll be if he's probably going to end up in prison over that shit. I don't know if he actually did it. I haven't heard any of the actual charges. They said either through force or fear. That's weird. I don't understand the fear rate part, like whether he's like threatening to kill him, so you better suck it. I don't know what happened there. Frank, thank you. Sexuality is based on the sex you're sexually attracted to, not your relationship status, or it'd be asexual. Or I'd be asexual, I'm guessing, or something like that. No, I would say it's based on the sex you're intending on having, because that's what sex is. But hey, if it makes you guys feel better to all be bisexual, knock yourselves out. I am now a bisexual man. I have no interest in men at all, none. But you are not allowed to question me on that. What else do we have here? 92-year-old. Oh, you know what? I don't know. I don't care about this guy. Just that 92-year-old reminded me. I do want to talk about this last thing. There's a video. What was that, from New York City, where this is old lady walking down the street, and this guy who just happens to be going the other way, walking past her, pushed her, and she fell against a fire hydrant and banged her head. And they caught the little fucker. They're pretty sure they have him. He's a 30-year-old man, and apparently this is something he's done more than once. This is like a serial thing for him. He walks by people and pushes them for no reason. And I'm glad his little punk ass has been caught. I hope he rots in jail. I don't understand hurting somebody who's done nothing to you. That's all right. Let me rephrase that, because I would hurt somebody who did nothing to me if I saw him like hurting a child. Absolutely. Hurting somebody who's done nothing, that's fucked up, and I do not understand it. And I'm glad they caught him, and I hope he rots in prison. So, yeah, that's going to wrap it up for today, guys. And that was a wonderful straw man you built there. No, you guys are the ones. Words have no meaning. And so I am bisexual now, and you can't question me. Sorry. You guys have a wonderful night. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out. Thank you for the donations. You're very, very kind. Tonight we'll be on Satsu 2 cents for some Lords of the Night fun. Satsu had talked about maybe doing a stream midday sometime, so keep an eye on Twitter for that. I don't know if we'll do it. With the way I've been sleeping, I don't know if I'll even be awake for it, but keep an eye out on Twitter, of course. I thought you were a lesbian, Monkey. I am, which that makes me bisexual. You figure it out. I will be over on Ranting Monkey Games here in a little bit, playing some more Fallout 4. I've done a little bit of decorating and some. I sold a lot of stuff, and we'll talk about it when we first get on there. But everybody, have a wonderful night, and I'll see you next time. I sang last night, but the song didn't come